Good day, Hudson Valley. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin, and welcome to our show where we bring you the best of what's happening in Putnam County. Today we're going to talk about a fun subject, food, and a really neat initiative that the Putnam County Health Department has kicked off or will kick off next week with at least 24 restaurants. And we have a spectacular lineup of guests who are a lot of fun from across the county. First, I'd like to introduce Barbara Elardi, supervising educator for the Department of Health. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
We have Kamel Jamal from Angelina's Restaurant in Cold Spring. Andy Linzeris from the Red Rooster Drive-In in Brewster. Welcome. And Pat Cotillo from Cotillo's Restaurant in Kent. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. Barbara, let's start with you.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about this Eat Smart Restaurant Week that's going on.
I'm happy to do so, Lisa. This is a really win-win situation for Putnam County. This was a brainchild of our Commissioner of Health, Dr. Alan Beals. He came one day and said, you know, we're promoting chronic disease prevention. People are overweight, people have diabetes, hypertension, and we do a lot of education around that, but we have to do something bigger. And I really want to do this in coordination with the restaurants, with the county at large, and he came up with Eat Smart Restaurant Week. And the logo is really where delicious and healthy come together. And that's really what we've tried to do. It's been wonderful. The response has been incredible. We had a kickoff of our logo in July, and we had Rich Parenti from the Clock Tower Grill participating, along with a lot of county people that supported this, including our county executive and our director of tourism and economic development.
I love it. So it's not really about losing weight, which everybody, wants to do, but it's really about eating more wholesomely, right? And working with restaurants to sort of maybe tweak things a little bit. What are the guidelines?
Okay, absolutely. We were really trying not to make this complicated for the residents as well as the restaurateurs and chefs. So we looked at a daily serving. What are your daily servings for nutrients? I am a nutritionist undergrad. We have nutritionists on staff. Chris Boyle, our top nutritionist, has really worked with the restaurants the most. But we wanted to figure out, how do we do this simply? So our guidelines are general. 700 calories or less, 23 grams of fat or less, and minimizing the use of salt, 800 milligrams or less. Overall guidelines. Mostly smaller portions, lots of veggies.
Great.
And as much farm to table as you can get, as much wholesome ingredients that you can get, but of course within reason.
Love it. And we have plenty of farm to table opportunities here in Putnam, right?
Absolutely, we do.
So, guys, what made you get involved with this? Anybody want to start? Pat?
Sean, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Sean, Sean. I'd like to give credit to Sean, who is our sanitarian, who really pitched us the idea of doing farm to table, getting involved with the county government to promote a restaurant week, which had guidelines that would help healthy eating. And healthy eating is very important to us, all of us, and myself in particular. I didn't realize how unhealthy I was. I had very high cholesterol, and I had to go and get stents in my heart last September. So coming up on an anniversary, so I got 4 stents and a blood clot removed, and I had to change my lifestyle. And we like to give the opportunity for customers to say, no matter what your predicament is, we can offer you something that will fit your dietary needs, which most of us do on a regular basis, but this really helps to promote it.
Wow, so you really have a passion behind it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. How about you, Henry?
Sean. It was all Sean. And I had the menu already. I redid my menu like 2 years ago. I added a healthy menu, so he wanted to know if I wanted to participate. I said, sure, I already have the items. A lot of people don't know, I don't advertise it,
But I mean, Red Rooster, everybody knows Red Rooster. It's sort of like a cult classic in Putnam County, right? I mean, you'd sort of think of it more as a fast food type of restaurant.
Well,
so was it
not fast food.
challenging? Okay.
Quick service. Everything's cooked to order. So
Okay.
yeah, we're known for our burgers and our ice cream. So a lot of people don't associate eating healthy with that, you know. But it worked.
Good.
Sell those items a lot.
And Kamel?
Well, I think it gave me the opportunity to look at my menu that I've been serving for all these years and put a different twist on it and explore, my culinary abilities and offer outside of Italian. So that's the advantage I took in that, and I said, let me captivate it and go with that. So that's why I chose to do it. I thought it was going to be exciting, and it gave people the opportunity to come to my establishment more than once in a while. And there's always someone that's looking to eat healthy in a group of people, so it gives them a different alternative, and it gives them more reason to come to my establishment. So that's the reason why I felt it was important to participate.
So if you're serving classic Italian food, right?
am.
And similarly with you, right, Pat?
Yes.
So, I mean, when you think of Italian food, you think a lot of cheese, right? Sauces that may be loaded with, oil and salt. So what is an alternative? Give me an example of an alternative, how you retooled.
Well, we wanted to, with the healthy eating, we wanted to, think outside of the box and go outside of Italian, but we also wanted to stay true to Italian. And we did a retake on an eggplant rolantini, for example.
Okay.
And what we did is we grilled our eggplant rather than frying it, and we used a low-fat ricotta, and rather than adding a whole bunch of cheeses, we got rid of the cheeses completely and just went with a sauce. So we did a retake on our eggplant rolantini, which worked out phenomenal. It tastes great, and
Oh, that's great.
it's another way of looking at things.
Good. Pat?
And well, for us, we wanted to do dishes that were already healthy or already within the guidelines. So we chose a traditional giambotta, which is a Italian stew, which is great for this time of year. It'd be great for most of September. It's eggplant, zucchinis from the garden, a lot of fresh herbs, and that's going to be served with a wheat pasta. Normally, I like to have it with sausage, so we left the sausage out. So we came in the guidelines of a lot of vegetables, low carb, and almost no fats.
That's awesome. And how about you, Andy? What is your specialty now for this week?
We're doing like the salads. We do a salad, we do a wrap with fresh grilled chicken. We measure everything out. It's a whole wheat wrap. I have a veggie burger, which was already on the menu. And we do that on whole wheat bread. So we hand cut the salad. We grill a chicken breast with no salt, some seasoning, some herbs. And measure out the dressing, hand toss it for you, put it in a bowl.
And
Beautiful.
Bob's your uncle, as they say, right?
So a lot of them. That's a lot of them. Yeah.
So Restaurant Week is actually 2 weeks, right? So
That's
it's
correct.
from September 7th through the 21st?
Correct.
Okay. So once the 21st hits, what happens? Are you going to continue to offer these options? Do you think you'll pull back? Are you going to see how the public takes to them? What's your vision?
Well, I think it's an opportunity to change directions. I think it's an opportunity to, in a business aspect, attract new clientele and freshen up the idea of cooking and give alternatives. So we're going to keep our staple menu, but we want to keep specials. And rather than doing our weekly specials that are in the same box, we're now offering Asian cuisine that's healthier, different types of healthy Asian cuisines in an Italian restaurant, which is a little bit crazy, but it's a lot of fun, and it gives our clientele to see what we're all about, and just so I think we're going to run with it and keep it going and try to start a new trend.
Oh, good. I love that. You going to keep it going?
Mine? Yeah, it's already on the menu. I'll probably grow it a little bit. I'll probably add a few more salads, a few more wraps, but definitely. Definitely.
And I know you're going to keep doing it.
Oh, well, it's definitely here to stay.
Yeah.
Our menu always had something which would appeal to people with different dietary needs. A lot of what we find now, especially I'm sure Angelina, is also people who request things like celiac disease and food allergies have become a major part of things that we have to take in consideration on a daily basis, which is why I have a large menu if you're familiar with it, and there's always things that if you need it tweaked, you can, or if you need something in particular, you're probably going to find something you want on the menu that'll fit your guidelines.
Do you think that, I feel like there's a certain level of sophistication that consumers who are eating out have hit now in terms of the demand, right? So it seems like people are asking for and expecting to get organic food, right? Unprocessed food. Are you seeing that in your restaurant? Are people asking specifically for that type of entree?
What I've experienced with our clientele is, with the internet and information, and we're just so aware of our surroundings. We're in the Hudson Valley, and we have these beautiful farms that offer such great opportunities for people to eat. and even going back to celiac and stuff like that, people are using it ways to lose weight and be healthier. So we are getting a lot of requests for different items that that cater to their needs, and I think that all comes just from the fact that there's so much information out there and people are able to tweak their diet to their needs.
Lisa, can I add something to that?
Yeah, please.
I think, one of the main focuses of this initiative, we have people, obviously, that we interact with at the health department that do have some health issues. Some of them are afraid to eat out. They don't think there are alternatives for them. And this was a way to showcase that. There are restaurants, and we hear it today, that will work with you, that offer something. This is highlighting that. We're actually going to have special menu inserts to highlight these dishes. And some people get very frustrated and feel, life's over, I have to eat this low sodium, horrible diet. And we're trying to say, look at these great entrees, appetizers that the restaurateurs have dreamed up for them, and maybe they can take some of this, use herbs more, use less butter, use olive oil, avocado, nuts, good fat, instead of the other one, and take some of these ideas home with them to their families so that they could try something that they may try at Cotillo's or Red Rooster or Angelina's, any of them.
That's a great point. And, obviously you think that this is a trend that's here to stay. And on the point of families, our kids, how do we keep this moving forward? How do we really bring this home to families, and how do we get children to eat healthy? I mean, kids. I mean, I have a 9-year-old. Getting her to eat healthy, if it's not Nutella, she doesn't want to eat it, right? So how do we do that? And especially in schools. I mean, I think the schools are trying, but is the health department doing anything in particular with schools to sort of indoctrinate this eating smart philosophy?
I would tell you yes. We have staff that actually are on wellness committees. Every school has a wellness committee in Putnam County. I myself are on the Carmel Wellness Committee. Chris Boyle, who I spoke of before, is on the Mayapack Committee. So we work with the schools, but I have to say, on their own, they've done a wonderful job. Just for an example, and I'm highlighting Carmel Schools just because that's the school I work with, the prior food service director, she just retired, she actually, over a 6-year period, started with the elementary schools, eliminating anything fried. She did not do it all at once to the middle and high school. She gradually did it. So by the time the elementary kids were in the middle school, they didn't know any difference.
Right.
She did that, whole grains, more veggies, things like that. I think the schools are good. And in fact, we do have one school that's actually participating in Restaurant Week. Even though it's not open to the public, they felt that they wanted to do that on their own, and they participated. I wanted to add one other thing, too.
Yeah, please.
Our food service people, Sean Rogan, Pat was talking about, Andy talked about. Sean is one of our sanitarians. He is just terrific. And a lot of what we do in Putnam County, the health department is not punitive with our restaurants. Our staff goes in and inspects, looks for violations, et cetera. But it's a very collegial relationship. It's educational. And this was part of it. And we have to thank Sean and his staff for the restaurants coming on board, because they could have said, oh, I don't want to do that, it looks like burdensome. But he was able to convince them, and I think, and you could ask them, I don't think it's really been that difficult, and it's just been a win-win situation between the two of us.
I love it. So do you guys have a favorite dish out of your new menu selections that you personally like?
Personally, I chose 3 entrees. I have 2 appetizers. One's a broccoli salad, which is it's very simple, a lot of lemon, garlic, and hot pepper, which when you're trying to work out or lose the weight, the hot pepper is always important. So I picked that. We have a grilled polenta with a mushroom ragu, which is just a traditional, good flavor of mushrooms and herbs. That actually has shaved pecorino on it. So we still fell in the guidelines with the cheese. And then we have, for the entrees, I selected something which I feel encompasses a lot of different needs. The first is the jambota that I spoke about. So if you're not worried about carbs, you have the jambota because you're going to run a marathon. The other dishes are salmon provençal,